What's happening, people? Welcome to Sai TV, and we have another show with you today. It was going to be a Rashford debate show, but we are going to discuss other things as well. So big up to everybody who's watching right now. That man are taking their sip of tea, you know what I mean, in a joyful way. Statmanbains has got, oh my God, has he actually
Come
got
on,
it?
man.
Kidding me?
Masterclass.
You are shameless. You are shameless. Statman, you are the biggest shameless person I've ever seen.
Can you send me? Can you DM me that PNG of that, please? I'm gonna start using that as well. Send that to me, please. Stat.
Wow.
Don't worry, man.
I can't
man. I've
believe
been
it.
telling you about Metal Master Madness, man. The guy knows ball. The guy's reshaping the football club.
This is what we're dealing with, people. This is what we're dealing with, man. But listen, we're gonna start the show. Go on.
Go. My bad. Go on, my brother. I'm just so excited. I'm sorry.
Victory.
Go on.
What victory is this, by the way? We all support United, by the way. What victory are you taking, guys? I don't understand this.
In terms of, do you know when you've been, when you knew something? Yeah. Look, forget players because we've got bigger problems at this football club. And then you get an appointment like Murta, and people attack him. They say he's not a football man. That man's from Manchester. Man used to play for that legendary school. I don't know what it's called, Said. You would know what I'm talking about. As that finishing school for football players. He's from there. He's from the ends, if you're local to Manchester. Go look at what he did in the academy. Go do your research. People talk about best in class. He took the guys from... You know how much staff from Manchester City John Murta has poached in the last 3 years? Man don't know. As soon as he got promoted to the first team, I told people... Give him time. You're going to see him do the same thing he did at youth recruitment level. People are going to get fired, and he's going to hire new people. That's why I'm so excited. And Matt Judge gone. Sorry, man. I stole your intro. Go. I'm ready though. Let's go.
Listen, it's good, man. It's good. We're on Giddy Watch. You know what I mean? If only Nuruddin was here, you get me. Man, like Nuruddin. It's a show for Nuruddin. But big up to everybody who's watching. Nearly 200 of you already here in the building. Big up to everybody who's watching right now. Big up to my analytics goes. You have to respect Baines. He's been mentioning Murta for weeks on multiple channels. Another CR7 win as well. Listen, you mean another draw? Another draw, mate. That's what we're saying. No personal gains for me, man. But listen, let's introduce the guest. Charlie, how are you, man?
No, all good, mate. I'm very, very, very glad to hear the news, actually. Only a few minutes before we came on the show, but I hope you're doing well, mate. But yeah, feeling good, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Statmanbains, how are you, bro? Everything all good?
Yeah, I'm good. How you look?
Yeah, not too bad, man. Not too bad. And obviously, Danny, good to have you back on the channel, man. It's good to see you, bro.
Come back on the perfect evening. Can't lie.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Well, you know what? Let's kick it off.
Put me on Giddy Watch straight away. Straight away.
Don't do that because it's infectious. The Giddy Watch is infectious. I gave it to Statman. Talked about quadruple and all that. He got a bit giddy at the start of the season. You know what I mean? But
he's gonna get the flag out and start dancing again.
Listen, we're not doing that. We're not doing that anymore. But listen, let's start off with you, Danny, first. How big is this? How momentous is this for the whole rebuild and the whole kind of process? A lot of people don't like to use that word, but I still think United is a process to get back to the top. It's going to take a while, but how big is this news that Matt Judge is leaving the club?
It's massive for a number of reasons, right? The Glazers are still the owners, so everything's within the Glazers.
Yeah, of course.
Right, but there's no divine rule that says they can't get their dividends, commercial growth, and Manchester United can't be successful. Also, there's no divine rule. They left Ed Woodward to it for 9 years. There was no accountability because they got their dividends, right? And he's been the worst football operator, de facto, the director of football, whatever you want to call it. He's been shocking in that role. We just saw the story. We already knew it. He gives players new contracts, right? To keep their value or whatever the nonsense is. Matt Judge. Fred's available for 25 million. The deal's done for him to go to another football club. It might have been Bayer Leverkusen. Can't remember who it was. You sharp with 52 million pounds in cash. Harry Maguire, 80 million pounds in cash. Do you know how the football industry was laughing at our football club for doing that? No one will do a 20 million pound deal and pay cash up front. That's installments, let alone 80 million. and for Harry Maguire. Matt Judge and Woodward, they're two of the worst operators I think the game's seen. I have to be honest with you. If they was in Italy at Juventus or Barca, they would have got sacked in 2 to 3 years. They wouldn't have lasted
massively.
They wouldn't have lasted 9 years. So it's massive for that reason. They're just not competent when it comes to dealing with football. All they understand is Man United money. They don't understand anything else. So it's absolutely massive because now we actually have a football man in John Murtough. I always say, people, do your research on him. Never understood why people said John Murtough's not a football man. He is a football man. And a lot of people probably deflect. They'll go to Rangnick. Go look at John Murtough's track record.
No, it's not deflected, though. Come on, man. That's a bit... I think you're discrediting Rangnick there.
I'm just saying some people, if I see a tweet and it's all Rangnick and you've just got Murtough in the byline, then I'm sorry.
Why are you being petty, Danny, man? Why are you being petty, man?
No. I'm only being petty to the people who were saying he's not a football man and those type of and attacking him. But listen, that's not to you side because when we speak, you listen. I listen. I always listen. You know what I'm saying to you? That's the difference. That's why me and you can have conversations. Because if I say, yo, Saeed, at youth level, you know, he fired Paul McGuinness. You know, he fired this guy. Then he got the guys from City. And then you'll listen and be like, oh, did he do that? Yeah, that's why we're getting these guys from South America, Real Madrid, Barcelona. Would you call it Hannibal? That's why the profile of player from a technical level was better all the way from 16 to under 23s than it is in our first 11. Because the guys who are recruiting there know what they're doing. It's just the guys in the first team never knew what they were doing. So listen, Rangnick, appreciate him as well. The PR's been a bit much, but don't underestimate John Murtough. If you look at his track record, when you ask him to restructure a department, people get fired and people get hired. So I think him bringing in Rangnick was the perfect chess move. Remember, Ed Woodward pretended he wanted to get an outsider in 4 years ago. We spoke to Rangnick, but Woodward didn't want an insider in. Ollie gets sacked. What does Murtough do? Finesses. Had to finesse Rangnick through the door. Rangnick's savaged the football club because they can't NDA him when he's the manager. He can say what he wants. That's what people don't understand. You won't hear anything from Rangnick as a consultant, I promise you. Not a thing, because that NDA will lock him up. As a manager, he can speak. Beautiful play by John Murtough. Because there's politics for a football club, innit? So, listen, Matt Judge leaving, I couldn't be happier, Saeed. I couldn't be happier, man. Honestly.
Yeah. I think everyone. I think everyone's more than happier. I want to kind of...
One last fact, sorry. And I pointed this out the other day, 52% of our transfers in the last 9 years is probably higher. Nothing to do with scouting. Nothing. It's agents that we know and players that are known to the coach. I'll reel it off quickly. Sorry to hog this for so long, Saeed, Mata, Fellaini, Blind, Schweinsteiger, Matic, Pogba, Zlatan, Mickey, who's a Raiola client, Alexis Sanchez, Cavani. Do you think we scouted any of those players? You all know those.
Especially the Dolly one as well. Dolly was just kind of brought to.
The coaches knew who those guys were, and they're linked to a few agents that everybody knows. So, Di Maria Falcao. Come on, man.
Exactly. You could go on and on. It's been shocking, Matt Judge.
Over 50% of our transfers, nothing to do with scouting. So, Woodward gone.
Absolutely.
Matt Judge gone. I couldn't be happier, man.
Absolutely. I think, I want to dilute the kind of conversation. I want to bring Charlie in before I bring more kind of, the waxy lyricals of Murtough. You got he's a chief negotiator of Man United transfers. You've actually got some of the transfers, haven't you? Did you say you had them just before we came on air?
Yeah. There's I just went through the transfers. I can just get that back up now. But it was just from my memory. You're talking about like Maguire. Obviously, Danny mentioned that already. I think there was a few more. I think Fred as well. But it's the signings we've made in the last few years, and I've been saying this for a long time. We always sign players that everyone already knows. That seems to be the way we do things. We always make these obvious signings. And look, Sancho's a very good player. I like Sancho, but me, you, anyone in the street could have told you that Jadon Sancho's a good footballer. We should have the best system in the world. We should have the best system in the world. You go and look at Liverpool. I hadn't heard of Luis Diaz. Some people may have done because they may be following the league and NOS, but I hadn't heard of Luis Diaz before he went to Liverpool. And now look, they've got a system in place that their scouting is very, very good. They know exactly what they want and they sign a player. And for years, we've always gone for the sell the shirt signings. We want to sell as many shirts as possible, or we go for the obvious signings, or we go for superstars. And we've done it for far too long. And I think a big thing about Ten Hag that I'm very, very excited about is Ten Hag signs players that are out of favour. Think about players like Tadic. I'm not saying he's a poor player, but he left, he went from Southampton, left the Premier League. Sebastian Haller didn't score many goals, went to play for Ajax. He knows, Ten Hag understands what he wants, and Ten Hag is not afraid to sign these players for cheaper amounts. He doesn't want to sign superstars. He wants players that fit in the system the best way. And if we've got the structure above Ten Hag that do not care about particularly how many shirts. I know that we still got the Glazers. I know that, but if we've got people above, we obviously seen was it Jim Lawler as well as left? Obviously one of the chief scouts. I think the chief scouts. Yeah. So if we've got some, we need a scouting system where we're actually looking for the best suitable players, and we're looking across the whole world rather than going for these obvious players that we think the fans are going to take to. I couldn't care less who Manchester. I'm going to back it. We need to back this. What's coming? We need to back it. It's going to take a long time, but we need to back it. And I don't care how many goals we're going to score, who's going to score the goals, who's in goal, agendas, player FC. Forget all that. We just want a football team. We want a football team with players who are suited to Ten Hag's system, and a football team that we enjoy watching, and we want to succeed. And hopefully, in the next year or so, we can start to see some of these improvements coming through.
Absolutely, Statman. You know what I mean. You've been coming for me on Twitter. Okay, give me your take on it, because for me, I feel like like I said to you, John Murtough's been there for a while. 2013. I wanted to give him time in his new role. I've said that, Danny. I've never ever discredited that. But for me, like I said to you, he was there under Ollie, and these changes weren't about. My thing is, Ralph Rangnick has come in, exposed the football club for what it is. He's almost made statements out in the open saying, listen, we need to have the best in class. You see Liverpool doing it. You see Memphis are doing it. So I'm asking you, Statman, you know what I mean? What's your take on this one right now? And do you still believe that this is all metal, or are you going to give credit to Ralph Rangnick?
No. What are you acting like I'm going to hate on Ralph? Like, Ralph obviously deserves some credit for publicly speaking out what, let's be honest, fans think, innit?
Yeah.
But at the same time, John Murtough was still the man that brought him in. I think he saw him in Germany like 2018 or 19 or something. Like, this guy, Murtough has...
Sorry, Statman, is remember when Woodward was pretending he wanted a technical director?
Yeah.
Yeah, John Murtough was doing the search. He met with and interviewed Ralph Rangnick and a few other people as well. But Rangnick's the person that he just stayed connected to and made an impression on him. Just for people that forgot that actually happened. But yeah, sorry, carry on, my brother, carry on.
No, just like that. You have to give credit to John Murtough and the footballing. Like I said, all of this side of the club, these are all bigger appointments than Ten Hag. Because now this footballing structure can hopefully stay for a couple of years and be like a sustainable model for United to follow. Like, say we do get a Paul Mitchell, and that's going to be brilliant. And we're getting rid of people that have been there for the past failures and stuff as well. So when people think we're bringing in too many people, I don't think that's the case.
No, you can never have too many at United, especially when we know that the right footballing men are not in control. And that's why, for me, like I said to you, I think this is a very, very welcoming. Apparently, he's not actually leaving. He's just going to a role that's not suited to what he normally does. So apparently, that's what I got from a report, that he's moving to a different role, but he's still at the football club. Again, though, for me...
Is it non-football related side? Have you seen
non-football related? Non-football related. So at least, that's fine. But at least then, Danny, we've got footballing people that will come to the football club, and at least then it shifts everyone aside. You know, like, it's just shifting everyone aside. The real footballing men come to the top, and that's what we want. We want the real footballing men to take to back to where we belong.
Facts. Were you coming to me though, or are we still going?
Sorry, that's what I wanted to come with that point.
Yeah, look, like I said, there's no rule that says the Glazers, the leeches, we make so much money, go and leech your little £20 million a year. I don't care. Just let footballing people make footballing decisions. Matt Judge is still on. I'm still watching Matt Judge though. Because don't get twisted, I back Murtough, but if Murtough don't do a good job side, I expect Matt Judge to fire him in 3 to 5 years as well. That's what you want at the foot. Take your dividends. Just fire people for not making Manchester United successful. That accountability. That's all I want. That's all I want. But listen, like, One thing I would say is just don't buy too much of the PR. See the scouting stuff, Saeed, yeah? It's just deflection from Woodward and the way him.
Yeah,
and
of course. Yeah, the wrongdoings, of course.
A training ground guru article about our global scouting network, by the way. And these guys are experts. If you go on their website, they've literally, if you want to know any football fan who works at your football club in their background, they'll tell you all that information. And these people are adamant, Saeed. The people in our global scouting network are elite. These people are adamant. There's people in there that could be technical directors at Premier League football clubs, according to Training Ground Guru. The problem is there's been no football strategy tapping into that network. That's the problem. It's, after we've signed a Raiola client, a Mendes client, someone that Mourinho knows or Louis van Gaal knows, it's, now we want to go get a player scouted. But even when you ask for a scout for the player, is it within a football plan? Is it within a football strategy? No, it never has been. That's why the timing of Ten Hag coming here is absolutely perfect. It's absolutely perfect. I don't know how much truth there is to the Paul Mitchell.
I hope it's true.
Just because the only thing with that side is that basically in January we spoke to, I forgot his name, Brighton's technical director. Dan Ashworth.
Yeah, he's in Newcastle, I think now.
From either side, it was like it didn't work because he's used to having all the power like Murta does. And that's not the role that was on offer. So now he's, like you said, he's going to Newcastle. So that's the only thing that makes me wonder, where does Paul Mitchell fit into all of this? Do you know what I mean? So
unless it's a technical director role and then Fletcher moves away from his role, which I think is a good opportunity now for Man United to act again. Listen, we know the club have done things bad in the past, but what we want to do is, you want to at least know that they're learning from their mistakes. Because at the end of the day, it's going to take a lot to get rid of the Glazers. We need a new owner. But we need to, in that moment, for United to still function as a football club. Because it will become 10th, 11th, to the point where you never know relegation. You never know with this football club. Because at the end of the day, the more your structure gets to that level, I've seen teams like AC Milan, being in the midst of nowhere, in really, and we're on that same level. So for me, this is absolutely huge.
Do you know what we might do? So at Leipzig, Paul Mitchell wasn't the sporting director. That was someone else. So, every football club, different roles, different titles. But where Mitchell had an important role, but he wasn't the main sporting director, it was somebody else. I wonder if now that Matt Judge is going, we've still got Steve Brown, head of recruitment. I think it makes sense he leaves next, if I'm being honest. But it'd be interesting to see if Murta's pushes himself higher up, if you get what I mean. And then Mitchell actually does have some power that makes sense for him. Otherwise,
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Big up to everybody who's watching. Nearly 500 who's watching. Please smash a like on the video. This wasn't meant to be the main part of the video. Can you believe? The main part of the video was meant to be about Rashford. I'm going to start off with you, Statman. Marcus Rashford. I put the title out there. Is it time to sell Rashford? And for me as well, by the way, you'll notice on the channel, I'm not targeting certain players. I'm just kind of analysing every player. This week I did Bruno Fernandes. Now it's Marcus Rashford. There will be certain players I look at and I think, you know what? Do we have to question them in a certain way? Marcus Rashford, Statman. Before we talk about selling and whatnot, Marcus Rashford, I put yesterday, and I genuinely mean this. I don't think he's on bad form. This is a decline in a player. I really, really genuinely mean that. When I looked at him yesterday, I don't know if you're watching the game, guys, yesterday, but he was second to everything. Every single situation. It's almost as if, his IQ level has dropped. Whether he had that in the past, that's debatable. But for me, every single time we looked like we were going forward, he was always second to everything. It was almost like he had to think again. The ball's going forward. Now he runs onto it. Statman, what in your opinion is going wrong with Rashford? And give me your kind of assessment on him.
I think I said it in the last majority of the season with Rashford. My frustrating thing with Rashford is you're not doing the basics. Like yesterday, walking around the pitch, help your fullback out. That's the bare minimum I ask for as a fan, kind of thing, isn't it? You're losing you're making our overall team shape worse with him on the pitch. You've now been displaced by what? Alanga a couple games ago. Let's be honest, Alanga's nothing special. Alanga just tracks back. He does the basics.
I get that.
That's what Rashford's not doing, and that's my problem with him. I can accept, in front of goal, you might not be the best. But once you stop doing the basics, that's when I have a problem. And right now, I have a massive problem with Rashford. And I'm like, are you taking accountability right now? Because let's be honest, does it look like Rashford really cares on the pitch?
The question.
And the answer is no.
He?
And that's my problem with Rashford. And we've seen the reports. Obviously, you can't believe every single report by him like questioning Ralph and stuff. And I'm just like, look at yourself in the mirror. Are you United's best left winger? The answer is no. Are you United's best right winger? The answer is no. Are you United's best striker? The answer is no. So where do you fit into the side other than the bench? And now you got given a chance on your preferred left-hand side where everyone thinks he should play. And let's be honest, he was a liability.
Yeah,
so you can't complain.
Absolutely.
And I said this with Rashford just quickly, The
Yeah.
biggest thing for Rashford in terms of his decline is kind of like, what made Rashford good in my eyes was his explosiveness and directness.
And he's lost them.
In my eyes, he's lost a yard of pace. He don't take on people how he used to. That element of his game is completely gone. So what is there now left with Marcus Rashford?
This is the question. This is exactly what I mean, Charlie. You know what I mean? It's that bit of his game has lost. And I think for me, you know, there's certain players, you know, when their pace goes, I think he's still quick, but not as quick as he used to be. And that was a difference that made Marcus Rashford so good. He used to get in behind defenders, take people on. He's lost them two elements of his game. And it's almost as if now he's become a one-trick pony. You know, he tries to go on the byline, he gets caught. He tries to take a man on. He doesn't know how to do it. He hasn't got the intelligence enough. I mean, what do you think, mate? What's your overall assessment now with Rashford? Is it time now up for him?
Well, Rashford's a real tough one, I think, to analyse because I've always thought Rashford is a decent player. I think he's got some good attributes. Statman talked about his explosiveness. You know, one-on-one, you'd fancy him normally taking on a defender, wouldn't you? But I've always felt, and I put this more down to the blame of Ollie, but I've always felt our forward players just really didn't contribute enough defensively. And I think, obviously, I don't really want to talk about Greenwood too much because that's a bit of a different situation, obviously, at the moment with what's going on. But I've always felt, obviously, with Rashford, with Bruno and Ronaldo in the team, our team shape has always been very, very poor. And I thought a lot of that blame should have been down to Ollie in terms of the way he set us up. But actually, from going on from Ollie now under Ranić, I don't know whether it's just a lack of confidence or whether Marcus Rashford just doesn't understand the basics of football, as Statman said. And like you saw yesterday in the game, Ronaldo was taking up the position that Rashford should have taken up, protecting Telles. And no matter how much you don't like Telles or Shaw or whatever, and the same on the other side with Dalot and Wan-Bissaka, our wide players generally don't do enough for our fullbacks. We just don't do enough. If you look at the way Liverpool play, you very rarely see Salah and Mane in their own half sitting back off the ball. What you do see is when they counter press, everyone's involved, everyone takes part, and everyone has to work hard. And you see the same. You look at a player like Bernardo Silva for Man City. How much talent has Bernardo Silva got? Probably one of the best players this season. A candidate for player of the season, probably. But how hard does Bernardo Silva work? If you look at the stats after the game, he probably covers the most ground out of most players. And I feel this is a problem we've had with Rashford. I think Bruno does work hard, but I think Bruno distorts our shape at times as well. I just don't think these footballers, I just don't think some of them are clever enough. I really, really don't. And in terms of his attacking output, he scored 4 goals in 25 league games this season. 4 goals. Last season, Martial scored 4 goals in 22 games and he got absolutely criticised to death. And I don't want to compare the two in terms of ability because everyone's got their different thoughts, but I do think this idea that Rashford, people are making a few excuses. Oh, is it Ollie? Is it not? We shouldn't be making excuses for many of these players. You know, they're professional footballers. They're getting paid hundreds of thousands of pounds. If you can't do the basics right, you shouldn't be at Manchester United. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You shouldn't be at any club. And if any of us 4 went to play for Man United on Monday night against Brentford, we all would work our absolute socks off, wouldn't we? We would. It's the club we love. We'd work our absolute socks off, and that's the minimum. And I just don't know. I think he's struggling from a lack of confidence, but also I think that he has always lacked a little bit of intelligence defensively. And also I think at times he doesn't quite have that intelligence when to pass, when to shoot, when to cross. I think he sometimes lacks that as well in his decision making. And I think the lack of confidence and that lack of decisiveness in terms of his decision making, they're sort of combined at the moment and making him look even worse. So that's what I think. And I think, should we sell him? I wouldn't be sad to see him go at all. There's only 1 or 2 players I'd be sad to see. Maybe Sancho, maybe Varane, maybe De Gea because of his legend status and Ronaldo. But other than that, I'm not really bothered, to be honest. I just want to see a successful team.
Absolutely. Before I bring you in, Danny, you got a super chat from Lil Yo-Yo. He goes, Saeed, on a lighter note, Matt Judge has blood on his hands. Get rid of the parasites, a big plus. Now let's get more football people in the club. Absolutely. Hopefully that could be Paul Mitchell that comes into the football club. But big up to you, man, for the super chat. Danny, big up to Nick Sport, by the way. He said something about giving Rashford one more year to come in Ten Hag. But you know, when you just kind of look at his player, I just think Rashford at this point just needs a fresh start. I genuinely think, you know, there was that video of him trying to run to Tuchel to hug him. You know what I mean? The most kind of sprint that he did all game. You know, that kind of sums up, you know, his kind of, you know, last year at United. What do you make of him at the minute? You know what I mean? Are you a fan of him? What do you think of Rashford?
I was a fan of him when he worked hard. I was a fan of him when he was a determined football player. And he was only that a year ago. Like, his performances last season, he was excellent in the Champions League. When we got to the top, you know, it was Rashford on and off good performances, but match-winning contributions. And then from about, again, Europa League, well, still a few big performances, but his consistency is just nosedived, right? Completely. So, but even last season, the work rate and determination was there, especially with the football, right? So when you see a player lose those things, Saeed, it's like, how do you lose the will to work hard? How do you lose your determination? These are the things that separate him and Martial for me. Martial, talent. Marcus Rashford was getting the most out of his talent because he had something in him, something in there. But that something in there is gone. I've been saying it for a few months. He needs to go to India, go South America, go find yourself on some spiritual journey, man, because he looks lost. He looks lost on the football pitch. What I would say, though, is, you know me, Said, I don't like extremism. There's people who never rated Rashford and went in on him when he was doing well. So now he's at his lowest. They're just, you know what I mean? So we need to look at the full picture. This is a guy who at one point did work hard and was determined. Now he's somebody who doesn't work hard and he's not determined at all. So the reality.
Let me ask you a question. Just a subplot. Just as a subplot to what you're saying there. Under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, did we really get the full picture of all these Man United players? Or was it just a kind of a holiday camp where you can really do what you want? Bruno Fernandes can be the guy that you play to. Rashford was. They were the two that were outstanding under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I
don't think it has anything. Do you know what it is? I wouldn't even bring Ole into it, other than that, because we had a balanced approach. If the team wanted the ball, we let them have it, and there was a strategy to counter-attack. So whenever we got the ball, it's not a coincidence. Bruno always was there to receive a pass, and Rashford was always there to run in behind. You don't even see those elements of counter-attacking anymore. Even under Ralph Rangnick, there is no counter-attack. So he benefited from that. I'll be honest, Saeed, what I'm seeing right now, you can talk about his IQ and all those things. He looks worse. When a player's 24 years old and looks worse than he did when he was a teenager, it's not just lack of IQ. It's not just lack of talent. Again, if you want to be those people that say those things, it's something else. It's something else. I think he's lost. I think he's been distracted by things out of football. And we have to be honest, he's entitled. He is a symptom of being rewarded for not succeeding, right? He's 24 years old on a Premier League, Champions League winner wage. You give a 24-year-old Mane money, but he hasn't done what Mane's done, and you give him the keys to the kingdom. If we want to talk about Ole, we can bring Ole in on that. Lukaku goes, Sanchez goes, Martial, Rashford, you know who. The front line's yours. So we basically gave him the keys to the kingdom to the front line, and it's just, everything's just fell apart. We can, don't get me wrong, you see the injuries that he played with for a whole season, that played a part in it, but situations evolve now, Saeed, if you get what I'm saying. Like, points that were relevant 6 months ago, 9 months ago, are not relevant today. Yes, Ole ran him into the ground, overplayed him, he shouldn't have went to the Euros, but at the end of the day, all that's happened, and we have a football player who looks entitled, lost, who doesn't want to work, and the club need to put him on notice. If I'm being generous, listen, that contract he has signed, he can't get a new contract. You extend his contract without his consent, You don't ask him. You're the football club. You extend it automatically by a year. So if you do want to sell him this summer, you've got 2 years left on the deal. You can get decent value. But how would you get value for a player who scored 4?
Is that me? Was he frozen?
No, he's frozen. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if he's going to come back there. But that's the problem, though, Statman. We're not going to get any value from him now. So, what's his value to you? For you, I think if someone offered me 30 million, I'd sell him 30, 40 million.
Bro, what happened?
Are you there, bro? You're back.
Am I back?
You there, bro? Yeah,
Sorry,
you're
I'm
back,
here.
back.
Can you hear me? Sorry, Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I'm here.
Extended contract automatically by 1 year. If we sell him this summer, that's 2 years left, not 1 year. And then you put him on notice. You got 6 months under Ten Hag. By January, February, if he's not performing, start looking to sell him. Simple as that. That's how I'd go about it.
The way Ten Hag plays that, man, you know what I mean, and the close possession football, and the triangles and the the overloads and whatnot, and the way he plays football, the technical side of it. Do you reckon he can fit in there? Because I don't see Rashford as a technical player. It's more just kind of hit and run. It used to be a lot of pacing behind. Now it's kind of like, do you reckon he can spit? He can kind of fit into that one?
Nah, let's be honest. He tried post lockdown 1920 to kind of change his game, that more playmaking game. Let's be honest. Obviously, he got a couple of assists and stuff, but overall, he wasn't great. Like I've said this, the best of Rashford we've seen is before 1920, like the lockdown period. He's been on the decline ever since in terms of his performance levels. It's like, and the thing is, you say the Ten Hag thing. How many excuses are we going to give this guy now? Like, I'm genuinely, and you know how much I love Rashford. How many more excuses are we going to give to him? What? Because injuries now? We said, he needs a proper coach. He's got that coach in Ralph Rangnick. Now he needs another coach. Now, even like the spiritual journey thing, like, don't get me wrong, I know where you're coming from, innit? But like, there has to be a point where you have to just look at Rashford himself now. And we say this, we're going to go through a massive rebuild. We need to stop being loyal to these players because these players have let us down every single time. Rashford's one of them. He's let us down now. His performances over the last year have been embarrassing. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, look, he's been benched already. He's already been benched. Sancho's taking his position. Sancho, and then on the right, he's garbage on the right, Rashford, let's be honest. So, so man, he's on notice. He has to be put on notice. You've already lost your position to Jadon Sancho. He's not getting that. As far as I'm concerned, don't get me wrong, Sancho's very good on the right, but he's excellent on the left. If Ten Hag says you have to try and get the left wing off Sancho, I'm telling you now, it's not going to happen. Sancho, he's not getting that left wing off Jadon Sancho based on performance. Even Rashford, the best we've seen him, saying Sancho's clear. So
I agree, yeah.
That's the problem with Rashford. Rashford's on the bench, but is he working hard enough that he wants to take that place back? No, he's not.
He's too entitled. No. He's not going to.
Exactly. So what makes people think that's all of a sudden going to change under Ten Hag?
Don't get me wrong.
From the evidence you've seen,
Sancho can play on the right. I just don't see why Ten Hag likes his wingers to be inverted. So unless he sees Rashford as a striker working off the ball, I don't know. But I think honestly,
for Ajax inverted as well.
If I had to put money on it at this point, and I love Rashford, if I had to put money on it, I'm betting on him 2 seasons from now, at best, him not being a Man United player no more. I have to be honest.
Dele Alli situation.
Dele Alli, yeah.
Dele Alli had the world at his feet. Look at him now.
Yeah.
Can't get it in the Everton team. I got super chat from Kyle. Big up to you, bro. Ollie gave the MUFC soul to the players who haven't earned it. Rash, Maguire, McTominay with the epitome of United. Now the fall when they need to step up. You know what? That's true, man. It's crazy, man. The players on the Ollie have all come crashing. Charlie, Maguire, Bruno, McTominay, the guys who were the kind of linchpin of Ollie's reign. I've been found out. Let's be honest, and it's quite damning, isn't it? Now that you've seen it now, all the players that had the trust from Ollie.
Yeah, look, I know everybody got a bit giddy when we went on that unbeaten run. We all did when we beat Burnley away 1-0 with that Pogba goal last season. We went top of the league, didn't we? And we all got a bit giddy, didn't we? We thought, is there any chance we can do this? Can we win the title? But I've been saying it for a long, long time. I just didn't think this was and I got a lot of stick for it before the season started. I said I just don't think Manchester United play. Maybe Ollie was doing all he could with this group of players. Maybe it was his particular way of playing was the best way, the counter attack, etc. But I just felt with Ollie, with these players, I just didn't think we could ever get to a stage where we were competing with the top teams, because I just didn't feel we had enough. You know, we were just living off moments, conceding early goals, you know, to teams is a very, very weak mentality sign. That if you keep conceding early goals on every single week, what does that tell you about a football team? You're not ready. The start of the game, you should be ready to play. And I'm a bit fed up with a lot of these players, mate, to be honest with you. And this idea that McTominay should be captain, I've seen a lot of these comments on Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not picking on a particular group, but some people, I think, are stuck in the past a little bit with their thoughts. They think a captain is just the most solid player, the one that kicks a few people in the back. That's not good enough to be a Manchester United captain. And the captain isn't even that much of an important job at the moment. Like, it doesn't really bother me that much, but the captain should be somebody to look up to, somebody who's won it all, somebody who's got a good mentality. And if you give that to McTominay, who's going to really listen to McTominay? What has McTominay achieved in his career? What has he won in his career? You know what I mean? And it's the same with Harry Maguire. And I just think that, I think Danny made a great point about accountability. For many years, Manchester United have failed. Whether you like it or not, we've failed. If Manchester United are not winning trophies, they're failing. This idea that you get success without winning trophies is absolute rubbish. You win by winning trophies. That's how you succeed as a football club. Winning trophies. That is the barometer, especially at Man United, of success. That is the barometer of success. And with the changes behind the scenes, with Ten Hag coming in, I've seen some news just that it looks like Mitchell might be leaving at the end of the season, which could look good for us. Monaco at the end of the season. So we just need to get in a place, and I said this before when Ranić came in, when I know Klopp signed a new contract, but Pep and Klopp and Man City and Liverpool, they're not going to be around forever like they are now. They're not going to be around forever. They are going to have dips. They are going to have dips. This is the height. They can't get much better than this. Liverpool and Manchester City, they can't get much better. They are going to have to come down.
Quadruple. Can't get much than quadruple, mate. You know what I mean? That's a possibility. But you never know, though. But I'm just trying to say, you know, that's what they set the standards, and that's what you kind of mean.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah. Sachin's asking here, what are your opinions on Rashford going outside England? Would he thrive if he develops to La Liga, Bundesliga, Serie A? Statman, start with you. Do you reckon he can thrive at another league?
You can't get any worse, can you?
Statman's done with Rashford.
No, but realistically, you can't get any worse. Like 4 goals this year. Not hoping at a fullback out. He can't get any worse. So surely, like I've been saying this, I think he just needs a fresh new environment, new country. Just get out, like the British media side of it, kind of thing, innit?
Yep. Yeah, 100%.
You know what? I think he'd do well in the Bundesliga. In behind, a lot of pace, a lot of space in behind, those runs in behind. I think he'd do very well. But I don't want to sound rude or bad, but when a player leaves my football club, I'm not interested anymore in them. I couldn't care because I'm cared about Manchester United. It's the same with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer or Jose Mourinho or Louis van Gaal. Respect what they did here. If you like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as a player, as a manager, you can do what. But this revisionism, I keep seeing Ole all the time, or Van Gaal or Moyes or whoever it might be. Forget about that. That's in the past.
Matic was world class under Jose. I've been seeing that. I'm like, no, he wasn't.
No, it's just. I don't know why. We just need to focus on what's going on now at Manchester United. And I think too many people are bothered about, where's Rashford going to go? You know, is he going to do well? Forget about that. When Rashford leaves Man United, that's it. I'm not bothered. We need Manchester United currently to be successful. Whoever doesn't fit the bill, whoever Ten Hag doesn't fancy, goodbye. The door's there. We want to be successful here. We don't want you here if you're not going to be successful. We need people who want to work hard and have got the talent. That's what we want, mate. We need to have high standards here.
But I think I think it's going to be difficult to get rid of Rashford straight away. Innit? We're going to be losing a lot of people. You have to be realistic. We're going to need someone in the squad, innit?
I think for me,
for another year.
You have to get rid of the wages, though. You know what I mean? And for me, like I said to you, we've got a forward line to think of. I think Rashford, Elanga, and Sancho on that left-hand side, you know what I mean? And maybe possibly Martial in there. That could be a little bit of a cover on that left-hand side. The right-hand side, you know, what's the point of keeping Rashford if he's going to be moaning? He's not going to give it his 100% to play on the left-hand side when he's called upon. You know, you might as well get rid of him now. For me, this is the best time you're ever going to get rid of Marcus Rashford.
No,
Danny.
it's not his value. Listen, Marcus Rashford has been our worst player this season by a country mile. It's not even close. Like, I don't do like YouTube, you know, ratings off the game side where players get like threes and that. I don't believe in that. Like, I mean, you start at a 6, maybe you get a 5, and then 4 if you gave away a penalty if you're a centre back. Rashford's season's literally a 1 or a 2. No, it's not even a 2, it's a 1. We have to be honest. I don't even think if this version of Rashford goes to the Bundesliga, he's not doing nothing for nobody, for no one. They say, I don't like, maybe it's because some people are numb to it because they've been onto Rashford's case his entire Man United career. But for someone like me who's appreciated what he was, I look at him now and I'm like, I don't want to call him a waste man, but he's been moving like a waste man this season. Honestly, like, this is probably the worst individual season I've seen from somebody of his quality, whatever you think it is, in a long time. This is Alexis Sanchez type shit. Let's be honest.
Yeah, bro, that's deep.
It hurts me to say
Alexis
that. Like,
Sanchez type.
I'm talking about Bundesliga. This version of Rashford would do well in the MLS. I have to be honest, man. He needs to, wherever he goes or if he stays, the work rate, the determination, the desire to play football has to be there. I don't see a desire to play professional football. I just don't see.
What do you reckon Rashford's last best game was? Sorry, go on, Charlie. Atalanta.
Yeah, November.
I'll be honest, I can't even remember that game now. The game that always
What, Ronaldo? The one that Ronaldo won us.
The comeback at Old Trafford.
Don't get me wrong. I know Ronaldo scored in that.
Comeback at Old Trafford.
Yeah, he just kept running behind.
I think you.
The first time we got dominated.
Yeah, we were 2-0 down, and then we were 3-2.
And he came on second half. Remember? In behind.
It could have been. For me, I just remember Ronaldo saving us. I got to big up your goat, man. You know what I'm saying?
What can I say, man?
No, but
the last good Rashford performance I remember Burnley at home last year.
Yeah,
Burnley
at home.
Yeah.
That's the game that I always say, that's the Rashford performance where I'm like, that was your old Marcus Rashford taking on people.
Or real sussy.
But you know what Danny said there about professional footballers? Isn't it crazy that we're talking about professional footballers we think are not trying hard enough? Don't you think that's crazy? Like, if you think in any other job, if your boss catches you not working hard enough or your output's been terrible, there's accountability. You probably get fired for it. At Manchester United, you get offered a new contract, and this is what we've got to get away from. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. And look, any of us, anybody in the world, a Man United fan, would give that absolute all, not just to watch a Man United game. There's people who wake up at God knows what time in the morning to watch games from all over the world. There's fans that, for example, the game last night, I actually was saying to people, I don't want to watch this game of football. That's how that's how bad. Why should I bother when they don't? And that shouldn't be the way we are. We should be waking up.
And Rashford didn't bother.
Love our team.
Rashford didn't bother. I felt sorry for Tellez.
Don't you think it's crazy, Said, like paying that much money and you're not even trying? Apparently, he's doing very well in training as well. I think Randy said, but like, if he's doing very, very well in training, then what is it that's stopping him doing very, very well in games? Like, is he nervous about making a mistake? I just don't know. And mate, if you don't try hard enough, that is just it. I'm sorry, it's just not acceptable. Not acceptable.
Yeah. What was the comment we were trying to make there? Yeah, talking about like Rashford's last performances. Yeah, I would say that the kind of the lockdown Burnley game, Real Sociedad game. Yeah, he absolutely destroyed them. Kept getting behind. That was good games. Like, for me, I'm not gonna lie to you. I've seen this coming for 2 years. I've said some comments after Newcastle away. I just thought he was better than what he was, and I thought 200 grand a week. I thought, have we given it to someone that doesn't really fit the mold of a player who's on 200 grand a week? And that was played up front. And now that he's on the left, I still think that for me, it's not that player that I think United need. I want technical players. I think a lot of kick and run merchants, I'm just tired of it now. I really, really am tired of just people just running around. Elanga, for me, I'm going to give him time because he's only just turned 20. I can't really go mad at a young player just coming into the game.
Elanga's 2-footed.
Yeah, Elanga. Yeah. He's got some. You know, he can carry the ball better as well. Remember, Elanga carried the ball yesterday.
So Rashford because this is the problem with hybrid football players. By the way, hybrid football players lack the key fundamentals for certain roles. So because confidence enables Rashford to dribble and go past people, he's not kick and rush. He does skill side. You're going overboard. He uses skill to go past people.
Who,
but that's
Rashford?
Come on, man does tricks and goes. He's a trickster and goes past people, right? He's not Valencia's kick and rush. That's not what Marcus Rashford does. Come on, man. So when he's confident, he can produce skill to go past somebody. When he loses the confidence, is your foot south and can you drop the shoulder? No, we can't. How good's your passing? Subpar. Was you ever taught to drive down the wing and cross with your weaker foot? No. Was you ever taught how's your heading? Below average. His finishing
heading is shocking.
People don't give him credit. Like he's a better finisher. Last season, even he was a better finisher than he was as a teenager. People don't want to give him that credit, but you think about the dink against West Ham, he weren't producing those finishes when he was a teenager. He got a bit better. But his fundamentals, if you said, okay, list the fundamentals for a winger, even dribbling, linked to confidence, list the fundamentals to a striker, at best, you're Filippo Inzaghi without the composure in front of goal. So that's the problem here. That's the issue. It's fundamentals.
You know what, Daddy? Like
confidence away, the fundamentals just aren't there. So, you know
what? If you've got a player like Elanga, right? And I said, I think we did a show on Elanga actually, Saeed, a few months ago. I think it might have been just when he was picking up some form and doing quite well. And I said, Elanga is not the most incredibly talented footballer in terms of he's not going to go around and get loads of assists and goals. He's not going to do loads of nice tricks. But what Elanga does is he does the basics right. And even if Elanga doesn't score a goal, he still contributes to the team. He'll get back into a good shape. He'll protect his fullback. He'll work hard. Elanga generally makes decent decisions on the ball. You saw at home to Norwich. Would one of our other players shot when Elanga passed to Ronaldo for the goal? When he won the ball back there. Would Rashford have even won the ball back? He probably wouldn't have done. So when Elanga doesn't score, he still contributes to the team somehow. Whether he can be a great player in the future, I'm not sure. I still think he needs to sort of adapt his game slightly. I think he needs to bring a little bit more to the party. But it's the same like Dan James. Dan James was actually the best signing in that summer out of Maguire, Wan-Bissaka and James. I think that was actually turned out to be the best signing. We actually made profit on him in the end. We signed him for 15 or whatever we did, and we sold him for 30 or 25 or whatever it was. But Dan James, he didn't offer a great deal in individual quality. But what he did offer is he understands the game. He wasn't Manchester United quality by any stretch, but he understood the game. And when he played, we didn't suffer too much when he wasn't scoring goals. But when Rashford doesn't score goals, he negatively contributes to the team, because he doesn't do enough work defensively and he makes the wrong decisions too often. And that's what I've always said with Anthony Martial. And by the way, I'm not saying I've given up on Martial, but I don't think Martial should really, the way he's playing at the moment, particularly.
We're not seeing enough at Sevilla. We're not seeing enough at Sevilla.
Yeah, we haven't seen enough. But when Martial isn't scoring, he contributes greatly to the team. His back holds the ball up well, passes well, wins free kicks, makes good decisions, gets back into a good shape very often when he's playing on the left. So this is the difference. And, I don't look at goals and assists that much, to be totally honest with you. I just look at how the team performs.
Sorry, Charlie.
No, go on.
Sorry. Statman, can you see Rashford, and this is purely hypothetical, best case scenario, I feel like his game has to be 50 to 60% off the ball. I think 100%. Rashford, I'm going to talk football speak because Statman will get what I'm saying. I think he can attack zones very well. If there's a zone of space created, I'm not talking high up the pitch, any zone. Think City zones in the penalty box. The chance is going to be created here, attack that space. That's how I see where his game has to go for him to be effective. Being a football
player, you mean
player,
just take the brain of the player away kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, play for the team. So make runs for other people. And when this move happens, you attack that zone, you're getting a tap in. Because what he's been at Man United is a player who receives the ball. I don't get me wrong, gets him behind a lot. But other than that, he's receiving the ball 75% of the time to his feet. And when you get the ball to your feet, you've got to use your brain more.
Yeah.
So if he's not a 50-50 player where he's effective off the ball and he's only getting it half the time, I don't see how he develops. Do you agree or disagree with that, Statman?
I think that's 100% right. I think we said it with Rashford before, and I think Jose said something about Luke Shaw where it's kind of like his body, but my brain. That's what it has to be with Rashford right now. Because let's be honest, Rashford's footballing brain is not the best.
And why have we got to this situation? Why have we got to the situation? Because Martial, they have this confidence, and then it's gone out of it. There's not been, under Fergie, just the ability was there. The tactical came side of it. The ability was there. Fergie didn't really need to do much tactical element. Okay, Willem Molestein came in and whatnot, and had that side of the game. But there were players. Fabio, when was that game against Arsenal? Fabio and O'Shea were in midfield, but they played like midfielders. You see what I'm trying to say? The players are left to do it. Sometimes we're always micromanaging players. When is it we're going to get players that are just, their IQ levels are just going to be on point? And that's the biggest thing that Ten Hag has to do. Sometimes you've got to just say, you know what, to the players, you've got to go out there, you've got to perform. Mourinho seems to do it all the time. Put in a performance for him. You've got to have players that have accountability. I think Rashford always wants to be kind of spoon-fed information, right? Go do this, and then I want you to do that. And that's the problem. Another player, Martial, again, it didn't work out for him. Again, now he's at Sevilla and he can't do well there. So many players. Daniel James. It's too many.
Do you know what, though, Said? I just want to make a point on the game yesterday. Matic, Mata, and Ronaldo, probably the three that I'll pick out. Particularly Mata and Matic I'll pick out because these are two players that, and everyone's got their own opinions, of course, but these are two players that I don't think, obviously, Manchester United should keep hold of for the long future. Of course, they're not the future of Manchester United. But Mata and Matic, for me, have misused and underused in the last few years at Manchester United. When Mata was signed and he played a lot of time on the right wing, I mean, it's just ludicrous, really. And Matic as well. Matic has actually started the last few games, and Matic has actually played, I think, pretty well. We all know Matic will get ran past. Of course he will. Of course he will. That's going to happen. He has his weaknesses. But the two assists that Matic has got in the last two games have been quite remarkable, those two assists. The quality that he possesses. And as well with Juan Mata, I don't like this idea that players aren't fast enough. I think that's a bit rubbish. Particularly a player like Mata. If you're a player in a number 10, like Donny van der Beek, this claim that he isn't physical enough, I don't think that's right either. I don't think you have to be a particularly physical player. I think you just need to be a clever player. Was David Silva a particular physical player? No, he was just that good. So I think we do lack players with IQ. And I think in the last few years, a lot of players that have had a lot of intelligence haven't played. And I think that was partly because of Ollie's system, because of the counter-attacking system. Matic and Mata didn't suit Ollie's system. Of course it didn't. But I think that's a big reason why we haven't seen these couple of players in the last few years. I just wanted to mention that because I think they are still very, very good players. I just don't think... I think if we had a very good functioning system, you would actually see Matic and Mata play very, very, very well. I still think they have something to offer. Whether it's from the bench, that's fine. But unfortunately, at the end of the day, I think Matic is going to leave. And I just hope that we sign at least one midfielder who has that ability.
Yeah, Oh, mate, I think I still believe...
In the lines, we ain't seen nothing since. No one else has that in the Pogba. Pogba prefers long passes. Even not even Pogba plays those ball between the lines. If we're being honest, he's better going over midfield and over on the deck through the lines. Matic and imagine Freddie McTominay doing that.
Matic is the best through the lines, without a doubt. Matic through the lines the best.
He's in the top percent. He's in the top percentile in the world among midfielders for progressive passing. Matic,
crazy.
The top 1%.
That's crazy. Big up to Nathan Minas, my guy, bro. He says, in my opinion, you need to get rid of Rashford. I can't see him developing at all. He has got worse. He's better at 19 than he is now, and that isn't right. You should get rid of him and get Gnabry. You know what? I think low-key, man, I don't know why a lot of people are not going in for Gnabry. He's not really not feeling it at Bayern.
Season.
Well, listen,
If
His
Bayern
numbers
don't
are there,
want
but like,
Ten Hag season. He's 25, isn't he? 25. You know what I mean? Let me check how old Gnabry is.
Has he been getting injured? You check the transfer market. I always don't get me wrong. Like even Thiago, he had a lot of injuries at Bayern, but you knew he was world class. You need to look at Gnabry to make sure he hasn't got big injuries. But
yeah, I'm gonna put it up now.
I'll take Anthony.
By the way,
yeah, I'll take Anthony.
Anthony's it's a very, very interesting one because a lot of people said he isn't as technically as sound. I spoke to a few guys.
What?
Yeah, that's what a lot of people. For me, I've watched him, but I prefer Rafinha anyway. If I was to get a right winger, I'd prefer Rafinha just because it's Premier League proven as well.
That was before the 2000s.
Anthony is the opposite of what you expect from a Brazilian winger. Ten Hag's made him disciplined because he got him early.
Yeah,
disciplined side. He does exactly what Ten Hag tells him to do. Nothing. Anything Ten Hag wants, he does. He hugs that line. He only comes off if they're attacking from the other side.
Yeah. Who does he play for? Moussa Diaby. He plays for
Bayer Leverkusen.
French.
Yeah.
Oh, Bayer Leverkusen. Yeah.
Was that PSG before?
No, but Danny's right in terms of like people focus too much on the particular like individual players' quality. You've also got to think about how does that manager see him? You know what I mean? How does that manager see him? And I think Anthony. I'll be honest with you. I haven't seen enough of. I always think you need to watch at least 5 full games to judge. I haven't seen quite enough of Anthony yet, personally. But from what I've read, I think he'd be, especially with Ten Hag, what he's used to. I think that could be a good option.
Do you know what
bring
it is
in
with him?
Player from Ajax.
I'm going to sell him to you now, Charlie. Yeah. Let's say he gets the ball. He's hugged the touchline. He gets it 10 times. He will. It's a third of the time, so equally, just to make it up to 10, he will go through those motions. The first time he gets it, if a fullback makes the run, he'll give it to the fullback. The second time he gets it, if there's 4 guys in the box, he'll make a cross. The third time he gets it, he's going to look to cut inside and play between the lines. Then the 4th time he gets it, he'll look to shoot. And he'll run through that over and over and over again. That's why I'm saying to you, for Brazil, he might play different. Under Ten Hag, he is disciplined. And I was shocked when I watched him. I'm expecting him to be doing skills, back heels, doing what he wants, coming off the line. None of that stuff. None of that.
That's good. That's good though. That's good. That's what I want. I don't want to play it. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to see players doing keep uppies and all these back heels and all that nonsense. Get the ball down and pass it to each other. Play some good football. Football is not all about fancy flicks and tricks. Play some good football.
Man.
Yeah. Listen, I was calling Dembele and levels like injury prone. Well, listen. Yeah, man.
Yeah, now one of the best wingers in the world.
I'm just gonna wrap up the show by saying about this tweet here. Man United expect to appoint a replacement for Matt Judge, i.e. a new transfer negotiated soon. Deputy football director also due to be appointed shortly. No other major appointments of that bent expected this summer as it stands, although things can change. What do you say there, Danny?
The first bit I don't like. Why do we need a negotiator? Like John Murta, by the way, should be negotiating deals. I don't like that. We should be streamlining the structure. The structure's bloated. We had 3 chief scouts. It's down to 1. Matt Judge is moving away from football. Fine. Then Murta should be doing the negotiating. The deputy appointment, fine. I think it's going to be that Boyle guy who used to be at Liverpool. I think he was at Liverpool before in some capacity. So, yeah, I just don't like we don't need a transfer negotiator, man. Like that's your job. That's your job. And I love him.
There you go.
But I don't love him. I'm saying I big him up, but like.
Well, listen. Come on, man. Just say you love him, man. You know what I mean? It's all right, man. It's all right. It's all right.
He's got the posters in his room. He's not showing it.
Yeah, man. You got this guy here. How fast did you make that, by the way?
Bring me down from giddy. What you're not supposed to like make me more giddy side. Bring me down when I go off the deep end, man.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna bring you down, man. Just take that backdrop and then start, man. Can you do that as well, please? He's not making giddy in it. Help him out, man.
No. This is here to stay, man.
Listen, it is what it is. And by the way, people, just as a subplot here, Statman, the same way you go at me for saying about respect Ronaldo, can everyone respect De Gea as well, please? Because without De Gea this season, I tell you what, mate, I don't know where we'd be. So people, just for Ronaldo fans out there that come at me when I say Ronaldo and that, respect De Gea.
No, but you see, this is what it is with Said. I think David has been our top 2 players. He was brilliant yesterday. Can't fault that.
Brilliant, man. Listen, it is what it is, man.
And you know
Next
one thing I
season
say about
under Ten
David
Hag.
De Gea, yeah. You know one thing I say about David De Gea, as much as I criticize him, yeah. See, off the pitch, he's one of the only players that you can tell is literally hurt when we lose.
Yeah,
his interviews, his tweets, and all of that stuff. I know, like, people can say PR and all of that stuff. Yeah, I can hear it, but you can tell he genuinely feels the pain of a fan. Like his interview the other day on Sky, when he said he was embarrassed.
Yep.
After the Liverpool defeat, and he's correct.
Yep, absolutely.
But big up Ronaldo as well.
Yeah. Why is it always a problem with communication at the club? I mean, Rangnick hasn't spoken with Erik ten Hag yet. What the F? I don't know. We'll have to find out on that one. I think they'll come out as it comes.
It's because Rangnick didn't get Ten Hag. That's why they haven't spoken, for those who don't know.
Murto did.
No, it wasn't even Murta. But listen, that's inside it. I can't really share that source. I can't really share it.
Listen.
No, it's out there. Basically, Rangnick's not the only consultant side. We've got another former Chelsea director. He has a consultancy company. I might give this guy more credit, but he wants to be in the background, didn't him and his company. I probably give those guys more credit for what's happening, even more so than Murta. Because Matt Judge, listen to the Glazers. You didn't have to spend 1 billion to get that dividend. You could have spent half the money. So,
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Big up to everybody who's watching, man. I've enjoyed the show, man. Big up to everybody who's coming. You get me, man, like Danny as well, man. You might have to join the Friday crew, man. So big up to Danny.
Listen, if Statman sends me that background, I'll join the crew, innit?
Yep, there you go, man.
You can have it. You can have it.
Listen, where do you make that heart attack?
I had this on my phone for time, you know. I had this on my phone for time.
Yeah, man, watch a heart attack, you know. Got to make it, you know. Man, like Statman, you know. But big up to Statman.
Nah, I've had this saved on my phone for time.
Yeah,
man's got big up to phone as well. Man's got his phone, laptop, hard drive as a backup. Listen.
Yeah, man. Listen, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. But piss and people, we're gonna go around the room and just let everybody give themselves a shout. Charlie, we'll start off with you, man.
Yeah, just thread about Chazza on Twitter as usual. But yeah, we're going for 4K on Twitter. We're nearly there, nearly at 4K. So I appreciate the chance against Saeed, and I enjoyed it. Bit of shamelessness from one or two, but we've got to accept that. You know what I mean?
We've got to accept that. Exactly.
You've always been shameless, you know.
Look at this one here.
He's got Darren Fletcher out now. Look at him. He's got Darren Fletcher out.
I've just got them in the tuck. You just got them there ready to go.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Danny, let them know where they can find him, man. The Space King, man. The Space King.
Yeah, that's my at there. You find me on Spaces just because me doing my setup is a bit mad. But yeah, find me on Spaces all the time. It can go from anything to intellectual shit, talking about structures, scouting, coaching, and what the coaches are saying about football in general, like players being robots today, to just pure shithousery and agenda settings. I've been running an agenda against Kante for the last few days because man are trying to put him in a conversation with Keane and Vieira. Can't have it. Have it. Keep him in that bracket below. The Vieiras, the Keanes, just we have to protect these legends, man, from recency bias. Catch me on Twitter doing things like that.
Absolutely. Statmanbains with the Murto FC, man. Let them know where they can find you.
Just Statmanbains on YouTube, Twitch, and go follow that.
Absolutely. Big up to Neek Sport in the show. Yeah, man. Big up to you. Oh, yeah.
Big up, Neeks.
Yeah, man. Big up to Neeks.
I saw that's how much I trust Neeks, you know. I didn't even check any other source. As soon as I saw Neeks post it, I was like, yeah, this is certified. Shout out to Neeks Sportsman first. Always
absolutely. First. Yeah, last super chat here from Emmanuel goes, Murto's been there since 2013. What has he been doing since other than watching the ship sink? Listen, you know that's another question that I think. Yeah, go on.
Follow me on Twitter and I will tell you.
Okay, we'll tell you. That's directly from the main man. So people, make sure you check that out. Devil's Advocate. Yeah, man. Big up to him, man, as well. Big up to everybody who's watching. Please, guys, leave a like on the video, people. Smash a like on the video. Also, subscribe to the channel. It's road to 50K. We're out, people. Take care. Bye-bye.